Hi. Hello. Welcome back. I hit the wrong button. Hey, how you guys doing? It's nice of you to finally show up. Welcome back to the Combat Footage Show. I'm Ronnie, I'll be your host. I'm not muted. I got a lot to talk about tonight, but the most important thing is that you look great. Let's get started. Hit the like button, drop a comment in the chat. We're back. Let us know where you're chiming in from tonight. Hi from Germany. Welcome in from Germany. How are you? Montana. What's up? Another from Germany. All the Germans are here. Oh no. Happy birthday. It's not my birthday. Welcome in from Virginia Beach, a Commonwealth. Did you know that Virginia is the only state with nudity on its flag? And I'm here for it. I'm into it. South Central Kentucky, Spain. What's going on? North Texas. How are you? Pyongyang. Do you guys have electricity in Pyongyang? How's that going? India, Oregon, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Hope all is well. All is always well. Some of the days suck, but grand scheme's always good. It's good to see you. Thanks very much for a little bit of flexibility on the schedule. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about what has been going on. Some of you probably are already aware of this, but my family and I are expecting a new baby soon. And with that and some of the, challenge that brings, such as preparing for it, it's been almost 8 years since we've welcomed a new one into the family. I need a little bit of flexibility. The schedule changes that come along with that. I'm going to do my best to keep you as informed as possible when that kind of stuff happens. But ultimately, that's number one priority for me. Here is the only hot take you're going to hear tonight. Go out and have babies. The process of doing that is awesome. Go out and reproduce. Start a family. Right? It's becoming more and more rare to do that, and I think that's something that's very important. I'm not going to go too far down into the nuclear family and all that stuff, but thank you for your patience on the schedule. The next scheduled issue that we will have is towards the end of October. Towards the end of October, I've got to go do a thing. So that'll take away a Friday. And then you'll see in the pinned comment up at the top, and we're really excited to do this, around Veterans Day. I want to say it's the 10th through the 12th. Yeah, the bookending Veterans Day. We're going to be in Vegas. The majority of the Funker team and I will be in Vegas at MCon. MCon is in its inaugural year, and we're really excited to be a part of it. So we'll be on the ground conducting some interviews with all of the really awesome people that are going to be there. I've got a link for it up at the top if you'd like to learn a little bit more about MCon, but it's the first year for it, and we're really excited to be a part of it. I want to just, basically get started for the night. We're going to end up breezing through stuff. We are going to be using a little bit different of a map than normal. A lot of times we'll use Deep State and Google Earth. The reason I kind of switch back and forth with each of those, specific to the Ukraine footage area of the stream, is with Deep State, you get to see the front line and at least have a general understanding of who controls what. Again, the red area versus the green area doesn't mean that there's a wall of dudes standing there holding hands with each other. These are control areas. But Google Earth allows me to search lat-long coordinates. Well, I found a good in-between. There's a link for that, I want to say, in the stream description. I'm pretty sure I added it in there. I found it, really not too long ago. It was within the last couple hours. But we're going to see more than just Ukraine tonight. We're going to see footage from Sudan, actually with a little bit of a Ukraine flavor, maybe, to it. We're going to see quite a bit of footage coming out of Syria. We're going to talk about drones in Syria. We're going to talk about drones in Syria. But we'll get there. We'll get there, and when we do, I think that that's going to be an opportunity for us to leverage the poll. You know, I have a poll running right now, but it's really just to draw awareness to MCON. Again, it's in its first year. It's really designed around veterans, the culture. Anyway, let's get started for the night. The first thing that I want to talk about is actually Kharkiv. We're going to head to the map here. So welcome to our new map. We're going to be jumping up into Kharkiv. Some very specific coordinates where a strike took place. There are going to be at least 2 strikes. These 2 strikes took place in what appears to be a residential complex. There doesn't really appear to be anything military in the area. I'm not sure, you know, what might be around or where militaries stay. There's a stadium over here. But there were a series of attacks in Kharkiv that we're going to talk about here. And we're going to focus, like we do every night, on the footage for those. Sorry for your ears. Here you are. I've got 3 or 4 videos to watch. Now, from a casualty perspective, I am tracking somewhere around 27 injured, and the only killed that if I understand correctly, was a 10-year-old, according to the Ukrainian reports. No information, actually there was information about the munition used. It was reported to be Xander. And we will see Russia's response to this. Got another video coming up for you on that here. This is going to be kind of a perspective from a balcony overlooking the area. And I lied to you. We'll see Russia's response to another strike. This took place today, or within the last 24 hours. A couple more videos of this. I don't think I have anything showing the strike itself. Primarily just aftermath footage. Here's another perspective. Let's bring it up. And then one more video specific to this strike. And then we're going to shift just a little bit in Kharkiv to a different area. And I think this one was actually already a part of one of the other compilation videos we were just watching. Oh, no, this did provide, additional, footage close to the building. I think that opening shot there we already looked at. I don't know why I didn't have the sound on there for you guys. Sorry about that. There's no sound to this portion of the video. What kind of building was that? This is reported to be a residential area. I don't live there, so. All right, let's shift on our map slightly. We're not moving far. I'm going to go right there, where another strike took place. Let's see some of the footage from that. Coming up now.
удар, ну, не знаю, ну, как сказать, ну, сильный. Это нет шкалы.
Вы спали, подпрыгнули или как это было?
Я ничего никуда не подпрыгивал, а вот в доме нет ничего, в квартире. Люстр нет, этого нет, того нет. Еще пока смотрим.
What city is this, please? Just to update anybody that's just joined us. This is Kharkiv. This is the second of 2 strike locations within, you know, and forgive me on the timeline. We're not a news team. We're a footage team. But if I understand correctly, it's within the last 24 hours or so. Now, within the last, 72 hours, there was another strike. This time in a little area near Hroza, which is near Kupyansk. Let's take a look at some of the aftermath of that strike. Coming up now. Then we're going to go to the map, and I'm going to show you exactly where this took place. All right. Let's head to the map really quick, just so you can see where that takes place relative to the forward line. Wow, that's definitely not where that takes place. For some reason, my lat-long coordinates got a little bit jacked up on this one. If you guys pull the lat-long coordinates and drop it into the chat, I'll put those up here. But let's take a look at more of the footage. In the meantime, I can go and grab those from elsewhere. Here you are. There is no sound to this part of the video. I got those coordinates coming up for you in just a second. All right. Here's the thing. Let's talk about what was happening here, and then I'll show you where it is on the map. There was a memorial service taking place. This is a very small town, a small village. I want to say there's 300 total in Hroza, if that's how you pronounce it. There was a memorial service taking place for a Ukrainian soldier that had been killed on the front. Attending that memorial service was his son, his widow, now widow, and his daughter-in-law. All 3 of them were killed in this strike. This strike killed something near 50-plus people. Something over 50-plus people. Let's take a look on the map at where that took place. Oh, I was pretty close. That's here. This little dot there. Then one more piece of footage. Discretion's advised on this one.
Уже можно, да,
Now, I got one more thing to show you guys. I got one more thing to show you. Look away now. but I think that this provides important context. As they are finding those that were killed in that strike, they are moving them out of the rubble, presumably. And this strike killed more than 50 people. It was a memorial service or a funeral for a Ukrainian soldier who was killed. Again, his whole family was there. It was the memorial service itself was stood up by his son. His son organized it. This is a very, very small community. I mean, again, it was reported that there are somewhere around 300 people that live in it in its entirety. Now, I saw a question in the chat, when did this take place? This took place within the last week. An exact tie down of the day specifically, I'm not 100% certain, but it took place. Let's go ahead and continue moving through the footage for tonight. I'm going to pause actually for a second. I need to check in on the support. Doug, thank you very much for the 13 months. Appreciate that very much. 13 months. Glad to keep supporting y'all. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Cecil, thank you for the 16 months. Happy birthday, Ronnie. Not my birthday. Squad tonight, yes, sir. Right after we're done here. Mosin, thank you for the 19 months. Thank you, guys. We're going to be jumping into footage from the counteroffensive. Again, we're going to be shifting out of Ukraine eventually tonight. But first, we're going to head towards the Tokmak Axis. Moving now. What is going on with my... All right. Some weird's happening here. Please go back to Ukraine. Thank you. Not a whole lot of change in the forward line. Let's see if... There it is. Why did it do that? When I pasted it the first time, it took us out to Vietnam. Not a whole lot of change in the forward line since we were last here, which was the 25th of September. Especially along this Tokmak Axis. So the last change was really the continued push towards Novoprokopivka. As we move all the way up to October 10th. But the first video that I wanted to show you tonight relative to the counteroffensive actually takes place about 30 kilometers, or somewhere around 20 miles behind the Zaporizhzhia front. Now this is going to be footage of an entire Russian BMP unit being just absolutely dismantled by Ukrainian artillery. That video is coming up for you now. Might have a copyright issue with this music. Gonna keep it off for now. Now, this BMP unit would presumably have been, on its way to maybe reinforce Robotina. A Ukrainian, actually, somebody engaged with a Ukrainian online and tagged me in it and said, can you please pronounce that village name? And my brain has already flushed it. I need to go back and watch it again. It's like fireworks. All right, let's bring it back up. We're going to be headed towards Novoprokopivka. So we're staying right along the same Tokmak Axis. And this is a general area because the footage that we're about to watch here is actually going to be kind of a wide area, wide angle view of some very high resolution imagery. Russia's fortifications that they have in place down here. You'll see how extensive they are, and it'll be Ukrainian artillery impacting those areas. Footage coming up for you guys now. I don't have a translation for the on-screen text. Chance of nukes being used minimal. You can see those intertwined trench systems with forward trenches and access trenches to rear system here. I thought that one provided a little bit of context on some of those fortifications that Ukraine is trying to push through on, what I would say is almost a sub-axis of the Tokmak Axis. We've talked about that before. This straight southern approach here, to a certain extent, there's an effort to bypass it. We've seen plenty of footage of Ukrainians, to the right of both villages, Novoprokopivka and Robotin. But there's also this axis here, towards Verbove. We're actually going to see some trench line footage in 2 videos. But first, we're going to see a different one. I didn't record the geolocation for this one, but this is reported to be near or in Novoprokopivka. And it's a little dated, but we weren't here to show it to you when it came out. What you're looking at is a Russian tank. It's kind of doing tank things, driving around, but it's about to get hit by a 155 millimeter bonus round. Actually, it already did. If you blink, you'll miss it. There it was right there. It almost looks like the tank is firing, but it's not. So there's a proximity detonation that happens here, and then it launches a shape charge into the vehicle. It's typically fired by, it is fired by a 155 millimeter artillery system. So everything from like the 777s to the PZH 2000s. Now it's going to use its onboard, it's not an onboard fire extinguishing system. I'm not sure if it has one inside or not, but you can always use an external fire extinguishing system if you really need one by driving it into the water. Still on fire. Seems like fire's getting bigger. I don't know, maybe it's a grease fire. Bring it up. This is reported to take place near Verbove. I don't have a geolocation for this one, but the best that I have is just the general location of Verbove. What you're going to see here are Ukrainians inside of a fortified trench system, and they appear to be, defending the trench from something close. You'll understand what I mean here in a second, but grenades. Yeah. One more time, in case you missed it. All right, let's bring it up. Now we're going to move on the map. We're going to head over towards Berezove. Let's head to the map here. Just make sure it actually takes me where I want it to. All right, sure did. So just to kind of pull the map back out, show you where we just were. We were just a moment ago over near Verbove here. And this is where we are now. We're going to see some footage of HIMARS just really not giving a shit about your tree cover. That video is coming up for you guys in just a moment. I got actually 2 videos to watch on this one. Now, I'll walk you guys through what you're seeing here. The video kind of does that. But what you're looking at is that is a UR-77. The meteorite, the Russian analog to the Miklik, the mine-clearing line charge. What just impacted there is GMLRS. Now, what this is about to describe to you or show you is that although the impact was just to the right, it still ultimately destroyed both of those systems. That is alternative warhead with those 182,000 tungsten steel balls. We're going to see some better aftermath footage of this here in just a second. So that was the location of those 2 UR-77s. And I think this is just a longer video showing that aftermath. Yep. And it's gone. Is that snow? No, it's probably ash. I'm confused. Where'd the trees go? Well, I mean, my chemistry teacher told me that when something burns, it technically is just changing to air particles. So the trees are still there somewhere, along with the 2 UR-77 meteorites. Now, what probably happened here is with the strike, which impacted, off to the right over here, those tungsten steel balls, again, there's a lot of them in there, caused sympathetic detonations in the meteorites. Now, we've seen enough Miklik mine-clearing line charge footage to know just how impactful, those charges are, which there's very likely to have been, a bunch of nope ropes on each of these. And those just detonated. And decimated whatever was around each of these vehicles. Hey, Funker. How are you, buddy? Let's watch the strike one more time, though, because we only watched that one way through. One time through. One way through? Three-way through. Coming up. Now, somebody also shared Sentinel imagery, current Sentinel imagery, because what we don't have is the cook-off of those two things. So Sentinel imagery is going to be a little bit more up-to-date than what we're about to go and look at on our map. And it does show in this very spot that missing section of trees. Let's come up. Let's check. Let's take a look at the map. Show you where that took place. Again, Berezove in this tree line here. Somebody shared Sentinel imagery, and I'm sure you can actually probably find that in. Check the stream description. The link for each of these videos is there in one of these two threads, either the thread for the aftermath footage or the thread for the initial strike. But that should end up being in one of those threads. Hell of a bomb, looks like a mini nuke. That's the GMLRS, what is it, M30A1? Or is it the M31? So it's a GMLRS alternative warhead. And what it is technically an airburst munition. I think it would be classified as airburst, where it has a proximity capability. Over top of its target, it'll burst, and 182,000 tungsten steel BB-sized balls just kind of rain hell all around it. I think we did like a measurement at one time of area of effect, because I can't find any published official area of effect numbers, and it was something like 100 meters. Like, it was quite a spread that it had on it. We're going to move on the map once again over towards Andriivka, Klitchiivka, Bakhmut. Let's just slide the map that way. Once again, no major changes from a control perspective since Ukraine took Andriivka here and Klitchiivka, at least not since we were last together. There is this short section up here. Very small change. But we're going to see footage from the 3rd Brigade. I have a not safe for work tag on this one. I don't think I remember exactly why, because I believe this is an artillery compilation. So multiple wounded. It is perspective of Ukrainian artillery hitting both Russian infantry and equipment in and around the Klitchiivka, Andriivka area from the 3rd Brigade. Here you are. I do have music on this. That's bonus. Once again, we watched a video of bonus or smart. 155 millimeter. Hitting a Russian tank there. Let me make sure I've got the quality turned up as far. I did not. My bad. That would be D-Pick'em. So cluster munitions. 155 millimeter. The same there. You can see the circular pattern of the Dipicum. Dual purpose improved conventional munition. That's not my cursor. And this delay in the video that you're seeing here, this choppiness, is in the video itself. That's not on your side. It's not on my side. It's a part of the video. Now we've got helmet cam footage from the 3rd Assault Brigade. Same area. As they continue to clear through Russian positions. Headphone warning.
Ой, там что-то уебало. Пішли? Контроль. Ні, а тільки он напротив цього якраз. О, бач. Справа йде укопчик. Та тут нічого не буде. Крию. Рух. Але акуратно. Нараз, правий фланг підар є, чуєш? Це по нам стріляють, блядь, или що? Ну що, сука? Підар, іди сюди, сука!
Давайте, пошлите, пацаны, надо заходить дальше.
Ща, Вов, хуярнуть і йдем. Підари, я вас чую! Ідіть сюди!
M320 there. Thump.
Выходите, пидорас! Давай, пошли, пошли. Правый край!
Бачу, щось типа бліндажика, насип є. Соси, сука! Я його сняв нахуй. Да. Підари тікають, вали, пацани, вали! Є, сука! Соси, гандон, блядь!
Копом, двигайся! Пошли! Пошли, пацаны! Двигайся копом!
Ну то диви, сука, яка. Щас я тебе нахуй.
Зачищаем!
Снял еще одного пидора нахуй. Так там, сука, сдавайтесь, гандоны ебани!
Давай, давай!
Своя!
Твоя! Не надо! Хорошо!
Что не надо? Кому не надо? Выходи, блядь! Что? Не хотів, сука, вилазить нахуй. Кусти, сука. Розпаковочка прийшла. На нахуй. Своя. Всі цілі.
All right, let's bring it up. I saw a couple comments there, right, that I kind of just want to talk about for a second. One, something akin to, you know, I can't ever really see anything here. Visible enemy footage is relatively rare. You know, at the engagement distances, these are very close, right? So we are always going to have a very imperfect lens into what we're looking at. You know, we are looking at a situation in a two-dimensional space. It's a two-dimensional lens into a three-dimensional space, right? So there could be, you know, slight movement that you really just see somebody's shoulder that we're not going to be able to discern on video, but being there, it's going to look a lot different. Now, we have seen, you know, visible enemy close footage, and we've covered it here. You you know, from all perspectives. When that stuff comes, you know, it's something that we'll typically cover right away. But that also helps to show how close the engagements really are, right? You know, I don't have exact numbers, but, you know, GWAT engagements under most circumstances were out at, what, 200, 300, 400 meters. That's absolutely not the case here. You know, in matter of fact, the last time we streamed, we saw some extremely close range footage of a Russian sneaking up onto Ukrainians. The engagement distances here are very close, but we're still always going to have a very imperfect lens into exactly what's happening on the ground. You can hear the return fire, zips, snaps, zings, all of it. We're going to move again. We've got this is an interesting one. So I just talked about engagement distances being really close. That doesn't mean that engagements aren't happening outside of that. We're going to move to Verkhnokamiansky. Once again, it's taking me to Vietnam. Like, it took me all the way to Vietnam, and I don't understand that. Why did it do that? Stand by. Talk amongst yourselves while I get this back. Here we are. This is where we're going. I wanted to pull this up just to give you some understanding of what you're about to watch, and we're going to skip around a little bit in the video. Let me move that out of the way, though. So, what you're going to see is you're going to see a Ukrainian T-72 and a Ukrainian BMP both engaging Russian positions, what is reported to be Russian positions, as they attempt to maneuver along this tree line. Now, when you watch the tank's position is actually going to be along this road here, kind of moving up and engaging that position. The BMP's position is going to be here, and during that BMP portion of the footage, you'll be able to see off to the BMP's left this small part of Verkhnokamiansky. I think I nailed that one. But I wanted to help you understand what we were about to watch here. That video is coming up for you guys now. This was recorded by K2, and it provides a whole lot of additional context in the translation. We are going to play the sound here because it does provide some of the combat sound, and I'll talk you through some of that because, you know, in previous K2 videos, we've wondered where the sound comes from, but ultimately, you know, I'll just explain it to you outright. The sound is actually coming from a mounted GoPro on the vehicle itself. Is that ammo box from Halo? No. No, it's got ammo in it. You're seeing that tank maneuver through that small section of town. We're going to kind of skip forward here. We'll watch a bit of it engaging. This is a longer video. It's 9 minutes. There is that tree line that I pointed out to you. Watch a couple more of these shots. This is where they're engaging. Where Russians are, according to the video, maneuvering. We're going to fast forward to about here. A little bit different perspective. Something to make note of is between each shot, the tank is moving positions slightly. This is a T-72. Now let's fast forward to the BMP. There's an interesting shot that is going to show us here in a second of the rounds kind of being lobbed onto target. These are just training clips. It's been geolocated to the forward line. There it is. Again, that tree line that's out there that you're seeing this shoot at is the same one the tank was engaging. The BMP just hasn't moved up as far as that tank did. All right. I just thought that was some interesting footage to watch. See a lot of questions about why is it doing that? You have to have been paying attention to what it was showing you, right? So it explained all of that. If you're just here, if you're just showing up, you're late to formation. Not my fault. Reportedly, according to the video, the reason we just watched a T-72 go out and engage on its own, and we can't really answer why it's doing that on its own, is Russians were attempting to maneuver. Now, when we looked at this on the map, and in fact, we can go back to the map just so I can, refresh you on where it was. Full screen. And I actually gave you the wrong location earlier. It's right here. So this is the tree line that they're engaging. The BMP was firing from back here. The tank had moved up to about that position. Russians were attempting to maneuver, according to the video source, into this tree line from where they currently hold ground, which is back here. So the tank and the BMP went out to harass and slow that advance. Let's move to Kupyansk. All right, let's see is this going to take me to Vietnam again? No, it's going to take me to Morganton. What is going on? You guys saw, I pasted the same thing twice, 3 times. So these are actually the impact areas of a Russian strike. Specifically, we're going to see the TOS-1A. This is reported by Russian state media, RIA. We're going to see TOS-1A impacts all in this area here, and it's reported to be, again, according to the video source, Ukrainian positions. Coming up for you guys now. right, it's just playing over again. We're headed into Kupyansk next. And what's interesting about the reported geolocation for this one is it was a strike on a bridge across the Oskil River. Kupyansk is an area that the Russian information space has talked a lot about from a build-up perspective, combat power build-up perspective. And the amount of artillery strikes that have, if you were to go to geolocated, for example, another map that I enjoy very much, and focus specifically on the area around Kupyansk, Russia has been extremely heavy with artillery. The only one of those that we're going to watch tonight is a strike on what is reported to be the last bridge that breaks, or that would theoretically provide Ukraine. Once we're headed back to Vietnam. Look at this. Look at this. What is this? That theoretically would provide Ukraine the ability to pull out of Kupyansk. This bridge was already struck at one point. This geolocated area, so this strike has been geolocated, but there isn't a bridge reflected. I'm not sure if that means that there was a bridge created after this imagery or not. But the strike was delivered, supposedly, via air. This is about to get interesting. Here's the footage. This is a Russian jet. This Russian jet's launch location has been geolocated. I'm going to show you the geolocation of the launch. There's the bridge. Well, there is what used to be the bridge. Let's take a look at where that was launched from. Mess with me. We're in Vietnam again. Here we go. The geolocated position of that jet was here, with a plus or minus. So that video is saying, and this doesn't matter all that much, that jet launched that munition from here and it impacted there. Now here's where things get a little bit more interesting. Is the munition itself has been identified. The munition itself is a KH-38. Let's look up the KH-38. KH-38 range. We're just going to go full screen with this. Hey, Ryan, how are you? Welcome back. Let's bring it back up. We're jumping into our general Ukraine section here. The general Ukraine section is, and again, we're going to be shifting out of Ukraine here in a little bit because I've got footage from Sudan and Syria and the West Bank, actually, for us to go through tonight. We're going to head to Crimea, Western Crimea, where Ukrainians on jet skis did a bunch of boat stuff and jet ski stuff, raiding Russian positions. going to turn that music off. I don't know if it's copyright. If there will be copyright issues with it. All right. So again, the general Ukraine section, I sometimes have some idea where it took place, but not always. This is going to be a Russian T-62 that gets booped. Here you go. Boop. Now, this was likely GMLRS, once again. And with the alternative warhead capability, you have the option of that airburst or direct impact. Not 100% certain if this was alternative warhead. You do see quite a bit of fragmentation coming off around the vehicle. Out here in the periphery of it. Let's bring it back up. This is an interesting video. I'm sure somebody would be able to geolocate this one, but it's going to be Russians under counter battery, standing next to a BM-21 Grad. And they get real pissed about being under counter battery fire.
Сваливаем нахуй. Отваливаем, хули сидим, блядь! Красиво, ярко, красочно, сука! Но мимо, сосать хуй!
So, let's actually walk through what you just saw. So, if you listen closely, you'll hear a large impact that happens here, and then you'll hear popcorn. Well, that's actually D-Pick'em, and that D-Pick'em is going to land about right here.
Сваливаем нахуй. Отваливаем, хули сидим, блядь! Красиво, ярко, красочно, сука! Но мимо, сосать хуй!
All right. Let's bring it up. So we're going to see some footage of a Russian strike, which is believed to be AGS. So, AGS 30 or 17 maybe. What's amazing about this, what's amazing, there's no other word for it, is these are impacting direct on the Ukrainians. And you're going to end up seeing the majority of the Ukrainians leave. Now, there's going to be one that gets hit here. One of the Ukrainian, presumably medics, is going to move to treat him and stay through volley after volley worth of this AGS. That medic is now working on his buddy here. Now, the majority of these guys almost undoubtedly have both primary and secondary fragmentation wounds from this. Primary fragmentation being, you know, the stuff inside the munition itself that's meant to fragment. Secondary being wood, rocks, bone. He's still there. All right, let's bring it up. I need to check in on the support. I've kind of been just hammering through the footage because I have a lot of footage tonight for us to get through. Luke, thank you very much for the $5. Anyone? I'm not reading that one. Thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it very much, man. Lance, thank you for the 20. No message, mate. Just keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here, and thank you for the 20, sir. Lance, thanks for the 10. Damn, now I feel like an idiot for saying no message and then sending a message. I saw you kind of get dragged for that. It's all good. All good. Rowan, thank you very much for the 10. Hey, Ronnie, I did it again. I'm late. Here's my late find. Do you think AFU have any real chance of taking back all occupied territory? Thanks from UK. That's a softball of a question, my man. I have thoughts. It would be much longer of a conversation, a much more complex conversation, and have a whole lot to do with a combination of Western aid continuing, Ukraine continuing to fight the way they're fighting, and Russia losing interest in staying. I think that's a much more complex answer than I'd really be able to field my thoughts on, which aren't necessarily anything you should just take what I think with a grain of salt. Matter of fact, you just take whatever everybody says with a grain of salt and come to some semblance of your own understanding of what's happening. I don't watch the news. I don't watch other, shows. I get how I feel about everything from footage. So thanks again for the 10, Rowan. America's favorite Brazilian, thank you for the 2. We use horses and jet ski on the Rio Grande for migrants. Hell yeah. Get after it. All right. Not safe for work inbound 2 times, back to back. The first is HIMARS. This is going to be a HIMARS strike on a cluster of Russians. So you've got a large cluster of Russians here, and then you have a smaller cluster of Russians here. Now, Will made an interesting observation, because there were comments, I guess, on the original source that said, why wouldn't you target the big cluster out here? Will's observation is a little bit subjective, but in his mind, you'd have your lower enlisted kind of hanging out here playing tummy sticks or whatever it is that they're doing, grab ass. And then you'd have next to the vehicles your command team planning. So I'll let you guess which one gets hit with the HIMARS. Now, I mean, that's a shot in the dark. You also have the vehicles there, which are going to be, to a certain extent, a priority. All right. Now let's flip that coin over for a second. We're going to see a Tornado S strike. Now this is a precision system, 300 millimeter rockets that is really designed as the replacement for the BM-21 Grad. Tornado S strike on Ukrainian position. All right. Coming up. This one I thought was an interesting one to watch. The lofted rocket technique. It's something that's, always debated. What you're ultimately doing with that lofted rocket technique, and I don't know if this strike is going to be that, but it comes to mind here. What you're ultimately doing is preserving the platform itself, the chopper itself. Were you to fly in and use those in a direct attack type mode, you're really ultimately in contested airspace risking your air capability. This would appear to be, based on the trajectory, a Ka-52 using that lofted rocket technique. And what's most interesting about this video is the density of the impacts. The first grouped video were Russians. The second was Ukrainians. Ukraine has no fighter jets. Yes, they do. All right. Bringing it up. This one's another interesting one. So not too long ago, I talked about a technique that Ukraine was using to detect mines in their locations. What they're doing is they're using the thermal capability on some of their aftermarket drones. And in the heat of the day, those mines are going to heat up relative to the area around them. So towards the end of the hottest part of the day, what they'll do is they'll fly their drones up and they will look for the hot spots. Well, we now have video of them doing that. That was more of a rumor or rumor intelligence. Anyway, here's the video.
Противотанкову міну, ТМ.
Это ж та, которая, да?
Да, то есть ми бачимо температурний режим даної міни, і вона виявлена на тепловізорі. У нас маємо можливість переключитися і побачити, як вона в температурі світиться. Тут у нас на ділянці є декілька мін. От є рядом ще одна міна.
Then they're tagging that location.
От вона. І зараз замірюємо її температуру для подальшої роботи коригування системи. От ми бачимо.
Seen they drop 18 mines from drones now? I have. I have.
Треба буде підняти зараз температуру трошки, отак от. І ми маємо можливість вже повертатися на поля і виконувати дослідження. Що ви робите?
All right. Let's bring it up. I only tagged this video with the 5 rules of dodgeball. Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. So, what you're seeing here is a Ukrainian dodge a grenade. One more time.
Проблема.
All right. Now, from a Russian perspective, though, drones.
Закрываем.
Лёха, ты как, цел?
It's terrifying. Listen to the sound.
Закрываем.
Oh. Now, speaking of drones, I didn't include this one in the stream description, but I got to go to the website. We're going to see footage of a Ukrainian trying to defend his trench from a drone. Multiple drones, I should say. So when you go back and you rewatch this, you'll see that this is, multiple drone impacts here. Tries to hit it with his rifle. There's your drone. There's the rifle. Now, again, given that there are multiple drone impacts here, so they're firing at this first one. They're not firing at that one. And then this last one. They've survived the first two. All right, let's bring it up. We're actually going to shift into Sudan. This is an interesting storyline that I'm following. Not too long ago, Budanov, is he like the head of the SBU? I want to say the GUR, one of Ukraine's three-letter agencies. I'm just drawing a blank on which. I know which one. It's just brain fart, I guess. I hate using that term, but there's no other way to describe it. He talked about targeting Wagner wherever they might be. Video has emerged, and we've found and kind of collated all of it into one of what is reported to be confirmation that Ukrainians are in Sudan fighting against Wagner. That's what we're about to watch here. Coming up. So the footage is known to be in Sudan. It has been geolocated. This is absolutely Sudan. The outlier is really just whether or not it's actually Ukrainians. Ukraine has not refuted this. In fact, they have kind of stopped just short of saying that it actually is them. Got more of it here. I thought I had grabbed the compilation, but I did not. I grabbed the multiple individual videos. So you're starting to see like FPV drone strikes in Sudan. Now, again, this isn't me saying that Ukrainians are in Sudan. This is me showing you footage that many are reporting is confirmation that they are. Now, when Ukraine says things like, I can't really comment on that, and I'm summarizing, I'm paraphrasing, if you will, but we will target, Russians to the end of the earth. It's something akin to that. That doesn't really refute it. Gil Bates. That's an interesting one. I'm going to call that comment out. This war better be showing results because Russian territory keeps getting bigger from where I'm looking at. I don't know what you're looking at then. We've reported every Russian advance, every Ukrainian loss of ground. We've reported on some of the failures of the counteroffensive, some of the successes of the counteroffensive. And since Russia taking Bakhmut, they have not made a single significant advance on any map. Please tweet me at Ronnie Adkins _ if you can show me on any map any advance. I would be happy to talk about it. Outside of that, in Zaporizhzhia, Ukraine at a bare minimum has taken back 580 kilometers squared of ground. You could say that that's bias, but that's just reading the map, seeing the geolocated footage. Call it what it is. All right. Let's jump into Syria. Some interesting footage coming out of Syria. A U.S. fighter jet. I've seen both F-35 and F-16 on this. A U.S. fighter jet shot down a Turkish drone. I've actually got to go to Twitter and grab this video. Talk amongst yourselves. Here it is. That was easy. Make sure I've got the right video here. Yep, sure do. Coming up. This is reported to show that drone strike. Well, the American aircraft shooting down a Turkish drone. Now, what the U.S. stated. The U.S. stated effectively that they had troops in the area, and after repeated attempts to contact the Turks, they couldn't reach them. So what they ultimately determined is that the drone was a threat to U.S. forces in Syria. The drone itself was used, reportedly, to target Kurdish positions. It's known that U.S. special operators are embedded with, Kurds. Still, to this day, some believe that we have left Syria. We have not. Russia is still in Syria. Turkey is still in Syria. The United States is still in Syria. And they, again, deemed the drone to be a threat to U.S. forces. Now, Turkey issued a statement after the fact, after we shot down the drone. Here is Turkey's official statement. I'll give it to you on the screen. Following a terrorist attack that occurred on 1 October, you can't even see that. Here. They're talking, effectively about the targets that they were hitting. Its location. UCAV was lost due to different technical assessments in the deconfliction mechanism with third parties. So the U.S. believed that it was a threat to U.S. forces. The Turks say, no, it wasn't. That's effectively what they're saying there. Dog's barking. Now I've got some more footage coming from Syria for us to go through here. I haven't updated you guys with footage from Syria. Not safe for work on this one. You're going to see ISIS fighter during a Turkish anti-terror raid. Try and run away. Discretion advised. He doesn't make it. Interesting tangled conflict, Syria. Once upon a time, I tried doing a deep dive video. And it was an absolute alphabet soup. And extremely confusing. NATO falling apart? No, they're not. NATO has never been more allied than they are today. Not even close. So the unit specifically that you're looking at here is the Kurdish YAT. The Y stands for something that I can't pronounce, but the AT is anti-terror. Somebody said he was a non-combatant. He was a non-combatant with with a bunch of grenades and stuff. All right. Let's bring it up. This one's an interesting one, and I'm really interested to see the comments on this one. You're going to see two different types of comments. On the one hand, you're going to see, oh my God, that's terrible. On the other hand, you're going to see good. We'll talk about why you'll see good comments. This is a video of the white helmets driving stick shift through a war zone, which, I can empathize with. Nearly hit by government artillery. Now, the white helmets took a lot of heat at one point in time. That heat was centered around rumors that have been investigated by many different organizations that they were allying themselves with opposition forces, so effectively terrorists. Again, the situation in Syria is an absolute alphabet soup of organizations with shifting alliances, and the white helmets are one of few that are really heavily focused on just responding. Why are we there? These are Syrians. Did they hit a mine? No, that was artillery. It was government artillery. Let's bring it back up. We're going to be jumping over to the West Bank. See some footage of a grenade fail that ends up injuring 5 Israeli officers. You just all over the place. We cover everywhere, man. We cover war wherever it is, and we have since 2007. So that grenade toss that you guys just saw there is reported to have injured 5 officers, 3 of which I want to say were in critical condition. All right, let's bring it up. Recap of today's show. I already read this, but I thought it was funny. 2 rerun videos. I haven't shown anything we've shown before tonight. 1 compilation. I didn't show any compilations either. 3 Ukrainian videos. To play on Hollywood, I like that. And a bunch of Middle East videos. 100% Ukraine is winning. This is not the Ukraine show. We cover a lot of Ukraine footage because, to be honest with you, there's a lot of it out there. This is the most documented war that I think there's ever been. I don't think there is another war with more footage than the war in Ukraine. Right? I also not once tonight told you that Ukraine was winning. So you can come up with your own bullshit talking points as much as you like. All right, but take them somewhere else. I don't have time for it. But that's going to be it for tonight's show. I've got one more video to show you. You have to know that there's always going to be one more. Thanks very much for being here. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for all the support tonight. The B Night 3, thank you for both of the $2. All 3 $2. Appreciate that very much. Josh, thank you for the $2. Footage is geolocated to be in Sudan, by the way. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Nothing's perfect. I'm just trying to show you footage from around the globe, wherever it is. Wherever war is, we're going to try and cut through as much of the narrative as possible. If it's on footage, I'm trying to show it. I can't show you everything, though. We only have so much time. But go get the app. Download the app. Check on the website because there's a lot more of it there than I'm able to even cover here. There's one more bit of footage for you, though. And just remember, when you guys are out there and you're trying to do your confidence drills and be badasses, at some point, something bad might happen. Good night. We'll see you over on the other stream if you want to come hang out. Swing through. We can have more of these fun conversations like we just had. Stay informed. At some point, that confidence drill turns into attempted murder. He just shot that guy. One more time. I'd like to, before I go, I would like to highlight something here, actually. I'd like to talk about the dude standing here that took that round and didn't even move outside of the involuntary flinch of his arm. Through and through. Didn't see a lung come out there, though. So that probably can't be 9mm. Good night!